In this episode of the Roadside MBA, we're on our way to Adelanto, California, to visit Scott Turbon Mixer, a small American manufacturer that makes the biggest blenders you've ever seen.
You ready?
I'm ready. Where we test our talents with power tools,
Tell my children I love them.
play with fire,
Got it.
and find out how one tough little company beats back the competition with process innovation, a highly skilled workforce, and one-of-a-kind custom-made products. We're cruising down Highway 99, headed for Southern California, the land of sand and sunshine. And the place we're going's got plenty of both. Just not in the way you might think.
If there's the end of the world, we may be very close to it.
The small city of Adelanto is about 2 hours drive east from the beaches of Los Angeles, right on the edge of the Mojave Desert.
It seems like it's on the very edge of civilization. All you see is flat desert and a little bit of scrub, and there's not much else out there.
Welcome to the high desert beach community.
Thank you, Scott Schaefer.
Yeah,
Nice
Bill
to meet you,
Scott.
But businessman Bill Scott says it's the perfect place for a small American manufacturer to fly below the radar and compete in a tough global market.
How would you describe Bill Scott? Bill Scott is a character.
Welcome. We're at about 3,200 feet elevation, Southern California, and we have more sand than the beach does.
Bill's company, Scott Turbon Mixer, has been here for 30 years, making one-of-a-kind custom stainless steel industrial mixing machines.
Pretty slick, huh?
His customers use these massive blenders to mix everything from salad mix to pharmaceuticals and soft drinks.
We would sell this little machine to somebody like Pepsi and Coke for mixing aspartame, sodium and potassium benzoate, caffeine, pectin, minor ingredients that go into soda.
The central product and crowning glory of Scott Mixer is this, an industrial mixing head designed by Bill Scott himself. Unlike previous mixing heads, it combines ingredients from the top and bottom of the tank at the same time, effectively doubling the production capacity.
The upper cone or pump pulls down, the lower cone or pump sucks up, and the discharge is actually across those teeth, and that gives the shear. So we're circulating and we're shearing.
Bill patented his invention in 1980, which gave him a head start on the competition, but his patent ran out more than 15 years ago.
One thing that I thought was fascinating about these guys is he had intellectual property rights, and for a while that allowed him to kind of milk the patent, if you will. But the patent ran out, and now there's no more barrier to entry. Somebody can come make the exact same mixing machine.
I think the patent gave the company a big head start, a 17-year head start, but the patent itself and that head start isn't enough.
Now that anyone can make the same mixer head, Bill knew he had to do more to keep customers. So he decided to become a one-stop shop for the whole mixing process.
One thing you see out there is how vertically integrated this firm is. They are not focusing on making mixer heads and buying parts from other companies to put the whole system together. They're essentially making the entire mixing system from scratch themselves.
But to make a complicated, high-quality, customized product, you need employees who have stuck around long enough to learn the tricks of the trade.
Making these one-off machines means that processes can't be standardized. You're almost never doing the same thing on consecutive days. And it means that the company needs a relatively high-skilled workforce.
Jay is making a plastic bushing. Jay's a really good manual machinist. It takes a high skill level to make manual parts, very high. Now, we don't want to let Jay know that we really depend on him.
He probably knows already.
Bill keeps his employees around by offering job security in a remote area with high unemployment where his workers can provide for their families and afford to buy homes. He wants to make sure that he always has an experienced workforce, so he hasn't laid off a single employee, even during the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009.
Jose's been with me for over 20 years. 25. 25 years, excuse me, Jose. You can't do it without them. And retraining employees is extremely expensive and very disruptive. So as an employer, it's incredibly important to me, if they're good employees, to keep them as long as I can. You give me 8 hours of good work, and I, in turn, will make sure that there's bread on the table and you can plan your life.
He has a large share of the workforce that has been here 15, 20, 25 years. And that's really important because to create value for the customer, he needs to combine both the technology with the experience of the workers.
And these loyal, highly skilled employees make a very high-end mixer, one that a competitor with a less experienced staff can't match, even after the patent has expired.
I focus on high performance. There's a segment of the population that will buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Porsche. That's the customer that I focus on.
Bill says he refuses to cut corners using stainless steel just for looks rather than cheaper plain steel.
Not only do you want it highly functional and to last or perform or do whatever you want it to do, but you want it to look good.
Could you replace a lot of the stainless steel with?
Absolutely I could. Yeah, steel. Absolutely. I can make almost all my machines steel. The problem is, what are they going to look like in 6 months or a year?
Well, what about even plastics or?
It's not me. It's not me.
So one by one, each machine is polished to a mirror finish, and every single weld is carefully buffed smooth.
Here, and you can see what they look like before he started to grind and polish them. Look at this weld. Thing is perfect. I take a lot of pride in the way that our equipment works. It's assumed that it's going to kick butt, but if it looks great compared to all the other equipment that's in that factory, it just sparkles. And you saw these big machines. They're beautiful. As machines go, they're drop dead gorgeous.
So how hard is it really? What goes into making the Ferrari of mixers? I get a chance to find out myself. We started in the polishing room.
This is like, I feel like the flight attendant giving the little lesson on the airplane. You ready?
I'm ready.
That's cool. How'd I do? I had the mask on upside down.
So one of us knows what he's doing.
Do I need to redo it? Don't tell anyone.
The other job I tried was welding. That's really hard work.
Just get as comfortable as possible and make a practice pass.
The guy who showed me how to do it has been doing it for 2 years, and he said he's still not nearly as good as some of the people who've been doing it a lot longer.
Tell my children I love them.
I had visions of my finger being zapped and going up in smoke, but I was probably more careful than I needed to be to make sure that wasn't an issue.
What'd I do wrong?
You have to hold it down.
There you go.
Nope, you're touching it.
Turns out I am not a natural.
Go ahead. Ah, got it.
And finally, I'm welding. Sort of.
I can tell you that after doing it for 10 minutes, I am terrible at it. I welded this, however, but you know, even that is not quite true because the guy who showed me how to do it did most of the work.
You couldn't look at the welding directly because that's dangerous if you're not wearing the helmet. I didn't see the welding as much as I saw the output, and I think that he needs a little bit more training on that.
Did we shoot enough? I'm not very good at this.
Oh well. So much for my dream of a second career as a welder. Working on the shop floor has given me a newfound respect for the craftsmanship that goes into making these mixers. But creating a quality product is only part of the challenge of building a successful business.
Before we got to the factory floor, we saw a little tour of their office area. And it was interesting to me how the office area was organized as well. They had some salespeople and some people who were quoting jobs. And across that area, they had the engineers who were working on the design. And that's really important in a company to make sure that you don't produce things you can't sell or sell things that you can't engineer. And I really like how they were able to keep that communication together.
This is a business where it's really important for somebody to be talking to the customer and really understanding what's going on. inside the customer's processes. And that's a role that Bill himself has played for many years.
You can't get away from the customer. A lot of people, close the door, they take 2 month vacations, they do all these things, and it's a wonder. I'd love to be able to do that. In my opinion, though, you can easily lose track of what the essence of the company is about.
With so much competition out there, understanding customers and their needs is the key to making each and every deal. And then there's confidence. As the driving force behind this company, Bill has plenty of it.
Dan, one of my guys, was asking me today, he says, well, what happens if this went away tomorrow? And I said, Dan, there's so many opportunities out there right now. It'd take me a couple months and I could figure something. They're everywhere, opportunities.
One of the things we like to ask at the end is, what keeps you up at night?
Nothing, I'm sleeping.
And that's it. One man and a mixer. And 3 economists, an RV, the open road, and a lot of time together.
There's no NPR to be had out here.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything.
Next stop, a desert dude ranch in northwestern Arizona, where people just like us leave the cushy city life behind to see if we have what it takes to be a cowboy.